So after my Instagram post, I've gotten a handful of messages. One asking if I'm sane or well, or why I'm bringing so much stuff with me to a little festival. And two, asking what certain things are. So I figured I'd just make a video talking through everything that I'm bringing with me, and we'll kind of go from there. Just, yeah, should be kind of interesting. So everything through here, this whole area is all video. The entirety of my photo collection is this right here. It's Sony 28 to 70 f2, which is now my staple go-to lens. I don't need to bring pretty much any other lens with me for a show unless I know that I'm going to be much further away. This is the lens of choice. It's f2. It's up to 70. It's compact. It's lightweight. I don't need to bring primes with me. I love this thing. So pretty much leave it at f2 wide open the entire time, which a lot of purists are going to fuss at me about, but it's fine. I love it, especially when I'm shooting in low light. Tomorrow is going to be outside entirely, so I'm not going to be in low light the whole time. I might get it up to 8. I might just do auto, and we'll see. Depends on what the lighting is going to be like most of the day. I haven't even checked the weather yet, which I need to do. Other thing I have here is what my standard flash. I don't know if I'm, again, going to be in full light tomorrow. Some of the artists might not like flash. I might just use this for fill flash if I'm doing people in the crowd, or, we'll see what the situation looks like. The other thing I'm bringing with me is my A9iii. This thing is a beast. It is only 24 megapixels, but it bursts up to 120 frames per second, so I can get every single action shot I could ever possibly want. And just a push of a button, it has pre-capture, so I'm pretty much guaranteed to get my shot as long as I'm set up and ready to go. But this is it. This is everything that I'm going to bring with me for photography. Uh, Batteries and memory aside, this is my full photography kit. And if I weren't doing video, this would be my entire kit. But I'm I'm doing video for this one as well. So I'm actually really excited about that. The last time that the Punk Flea was happening, I just kind of showed up with a camera and just kind of, it was just that guy that showed up to a show and was taking photos. And I didn't actually get any video, but that show was just so phenomenal. I met so many wonderful people from that show. Matt from Arcane Arcade has been a phenomenal friend and ally since that point in time. We've done a lot of stuff together since then, and hoping this one will be kind of the same opportunity. But I'm going to get to do my video thing as well. Um, so uh, a while ago, for a very long time, I was using, I don't even actually know where they're at. They're somewhere in here. I was using FX30s. I had an FX6. I had these big Sony camera rigs that I would carry around with me everywhere. In fact, I think I still have out my, yeah. So like, if I'm doing like big shows where I need to zoom in, I'll have like this Panasonic camcorder guy, which is an amazing camera, by the way. Buy it used for like $1,000, and you're in for a treat for live shows. But most of the time, I don't. I found I really don't need that. If I'm going to take a camera like this, or I'm going to take an FX6, my beard is like totally in the camera here. This is stupid. All right, I'm tilting this up a little bit. Most of the time, if I've found that I'm using an FX6 or needing an FX6 or an FX30, I'm gonna have to babysit it, right? Like my job at that event is to get video. It's not to get photos. But my passion is photos. So what I found is I picked up at one point in time, we were doing some dance stuff, and I picked up one of these DJI Osmo Pocket 3s. And it is an absolute beast. The gimbals are amazing. You can set them up to track people. They are really self-sustaining and just amazing little cameras. Um, and so I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. I wonder what would happen if I set up another one. So I I bought another one, and I set them up to just track people, and I just set them up and walked away and took photos. And I realized at the end of that, like, holy cow, I'm able to capture video without having to babysit my actual cameras, while also being able to take photos at the same time. And it's been kind of like my shtick since that point. Um, any video you see on my channel, I am not at the camera taking that video. It's these little dudes that are doing all of the video, and then I'm stitching them together at the end. So, uh, for the cost of a single FX30 body, I was able to get all four of these. Um, and I don't have to buy lenses. I'm not going to get zooms. I'm not going to get like the FX30 look or, an FX6 look, but I'm able to get really solid live video from these little dudes for a fraction of the cost. Um, so these are my standard. These are my bread and butter. I take these with me to pretty much every single show, and they've served me ridiculously well. What I did recently pick up is somewhat recently DJI released this new Action 5, and they're on pretty decent sale right now on Amazon. They actually limited how many I can purchase because they're on that deep of a sale. Um, but I ended up picking up four of these, and it's not to replace these. These Osmo Pocket 3s will, I don't think, ever be replaced until maybe the Osmo Pocket 4 comes out. Uh, but it's to kind of add some additional, layers and angles for the cameras that I'm going to be using. I actually have one on my head right now. It's what I'm recording this on. It's on like an action hat, which is interesting. Yeah. Anyways, um, so I'm going to have four of these as well, and you might think four cameras is already a lot to edit, and it is. Eight cameras is going to be kind of insane, and it probably is. But I'm going to cut to kind of the layout, at least how the Punk Rock Festival was laid out last year, and why I want to get more angles. All right, so let's talk about what this particular festival looks like. So, previous one, we had a box, and it was a tent. So inside this tent, we also had a stage up front. We had seating throughout this area. And off to the side, there was additional like seating here. We had a path that was going this way to the actual bar, and there was a walk-through path here as well that let people actually kind of walk through to vendors and food trucks and all sorts of stuff that was back here. I'm assuming a lot of that is going to be the exact same. So what we need to do then is kind of figure out, well, where are we going to do our actual cameras? And so soundboard, actually what I should capture here as well, soundboard is right here on the side of the stage. So anyways, camera angle wise, I typically always want to have something right up front. So I'm going to have a camera here, I'm going to have a camera angled here, I'm going to have a camera angled here. And typically, in most situations, you're going to have your drummer rigged right here-ish. So depending on the situation, depending on the drum set, depending on the drummer, I'm going to have another cam, a drummer cam, either directly adjacent to them, facing down, or maybe attached to a front lip or edge. But essentially what I'm capturing here on a four-piece band, which is pretty typical, is I'm getting front angle, side angles, I'm getting lead singer, lead guitarist, bassist, and drummer. And these are going to all be very, very likely all going to be the DJI Osmo Pocket 3s. From there, I also want to start using these action cams because in the last one, what we had was a pretty decent circle pit. It wasn't circle pit all the time, but the crowd was going crazy right at the front of the stage, like any show. And I want to be able to capture that. I love being able to actually show people, show bands, capture the pit, not just for the bands, but for people that are watching the show later, just to see like, hey, if you want to show up, you want to see a crowd go nuts, this is the place to be. So anyways, I want to set up a couple cameras that are facing out towards the crowd, so potentially attached or immediately adjacent to each of the Osmos. I'm going to set up an action cam facing in this direction, angled outwards to kind of capture this particular area. What we'll probably also do is set up, I have four of them, so I'm going to have one more that I'm going to potentially put in the back here to get a full angle here. There's a bunch of tables and chairs and seats and people coming and going the entire time, but being able to capture the crowd towards the stage from the back
it gives me a couple options. If there's something really cool that happens on stage that I missed with my DJI Osmos, I'm very likely to have gotten it, hopefully, from this back cam facing this way, and you can see the crowd's reaction and all that jazz. Um, but then if something were to fail in general with these, I have a backup camera essentially. If all four of these failed, at least I've captured the show from this guy. It's not gonna be the best angle, but it's kind of like my worst case scenario backup cam. With the fourth, what I'm gonna try to negotiate doing, it's gonna depend on the band and the members on it, is I want to attach it to either the lead singer's microphone or the lead guitarist's guitar or the bassist's drummer's already going to have their own dedicated cam, but something where I'm getting a unique angle. If all else fails, I might just come over here and get John. John's controlling the sound for this one, so I might just have a John cam because that's kind of a cool behind the scenes shot too. So we're gonna have this last action cam as kind of a floater. So crowd, crowd, backup, and then floating cam to actually be able to capture different things. So that's why I have 8 cameras. It's going to be a little crazy. The other thing I might do with that floating cam is I have a couple people that I think are going to be there that are kind of standard punks that will come out and do some crazy moshing. So I can probably trust them with my gear. I might get a chest strap and say, hey, put this on and go crazy moshing. And then we can actually get a first person view from the pit of some moshers. So again, that last camera is just kind of a catch all. Should be a lot of fun. Kind of excited for it. So we'll see. Hopefully that makes sense why I want 8 cameras.
So these guys, these are clamps that I use to attach any of my stuff to the stage. A little small rig crab clamp. They are ridiculously strong, and I'm not gonna put my finger in there and clamp down because that's like those Tesla videos with hot dogs. Um, Once you actually get these clamped down, they do not move. This is actually the normal selfie rod. This is actually Insta360 rod. I was using Insta360 their 360 cameras for a little while. I don't really love the workflow for 360 cameras. It's tedious and a lot more work than just cutting between angles. But anyway, so I got these Insta360 rods. They extend quite a bit. And so it's nice to be able to just, attach. Boop, 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 boop. Let's do one making sound effects. I can attach one of these guys to the rod, tighten it down, clamp it onto something, get it to the right angle, turn on tracking, and I'm good to go. I don't need to have a tripod. I don't need to have anything anything extra here. I can find a spot that wouldn't normally be able to be set up for camera viewing and attach one of these, and I'm good to go. I don't really have to worry about it again. So that's why I have 8 of these. 4 of them, like I said, were with the Insta360 things. I am using the nice thing with these Action 5s. This bundle is actually, they came with a very nice telescoping rod with it. So I just ended up buying a couple extra clamps and it was kind of like set there. So cameras, that's it for them. We also have the DJI sets that I buy come with their little lapel mics. Actually, what I'm talking into right now is one of the lapel mics because I have their separate camera set or mic set as well, which is phenomenal. I use it for interviewing people, and yeah, absolutely highly recommend it. But yeah, these will connect to each of the things. I sometimes will set these up, sometimes I won't. I've set these up in a couple festivals and attached them like directly underneath the mic. And I've had people get really confused. Oh, is this a tuner? Cool. And they've like messed with it to try to get it to tune their guitars. Like, oh man, it's a microphone. Just leave it where it was. But sometimes, I mean, they're great for picking up audio. But recently, I've been working really closely with my sound guys at shows, and I'm just trying to operate with sound directly off the board. These capture sound pretty well, but you're gonna get that like very live, non-mixed sound to it. Even with these mics, I will say if you're not going to go this route, absolutely set one of these up underneath the singer because there is no stage in the world where the singer is going to outpower the drums and the bass. Even if you're recording from a distance, you really want to have clean or as clean as possible audio. But what I'm doing now is I'm getting stuff direct off the board. So I have a couple options for that. I just picked this up. I don't know why. It was on sale, so I was like, oh, cool. This is like a super tiny little zoom. I mean, it seems like something that you can just grab and go. And I don't know why I did it because I already have the Zoom F3, which does the exact same thing. But I'm thinking about leaving this at one of my staple venues that I'm always in and out of, and just saying like, hey guys, just leave this plugged in and press record whenever you're recording stuff, and we'll always have audio there. But the one that I use the most is actually this Zoom F6. It has 32-bit float. I am not a sound guy, 100%. I probably could be. I've wanted to like really spend more time in it, but I'm way too busy editing and taking photos to really get into it. So I need, and a lot of purists are going to be like, oh, that's sinful. I need 32-bit float. I cannot spend my time adjusting levels and working through. Stuff like that. So I need a recording system that I can just plug in and step away from and can pretty much always guarantee to get what I need. So every single one of these does 32-bit float. And I have, oh, what's up, dude? Yeah, hey. Here's our chocolate puppy. Puppy break. Go on. Every single one of these has 32-bit float. And so the primary difference is how many inputs do you have. What I'm probably going to end up, what I've typically been ending up doing is leaving the F6 at home, although I do love it, it is my favorite, and just bringing the F3 or this H1 XLR. Um, and what I do is I get a line that has vocals and a line that has all instruments. The nice thing with the F6, depending on my audio tech, is I can split by almost every single instrument and vocals and have an actual proper mix. But depending on how busy the audio tech is, the board that they're using, the location, the time that we have, most of the time what I'm just doing is getting, vocals and audio. Um, so this gets me audio directly off the board, which I'll then mix with the audio out of my cameras, and we are getting a much crisper sounding uh, sound for those actual videos. I'll post a clip from Tug from Lakeland Indie Bash that I thought was just phenomenal with how it turned out with the audio straight out of actually the FX6. So that's really kind of that's kind of it for video. Obviously I've got things like power cords. I've got my XLRs. That's the other thing you kind of have to keep your fingers crossed is that the board that you're using on a location is using XLRs. I do have adapters if they're not, but yeah. And then the other thing we have here is an array of batteries. The other reason that I wanted to try out these Action 5s is the kit that they were selling came with these little battery chargers that had 3 batteries in them. So I've been testing out duration. I haven't been doing it in the heat. This is going to be in Florida in the spring, but there is no real spring in Florida, so it's going to be hot. So the battery is not going to last as long as I wanted. But I've been testing this at 4K 24. I'm getting about 2.5 hours of recording off of each of these cameras, and then having an extra set of, batteries on hand. I should be able to swap out, hopefully, batteries pretty quickly between each set. These are really, I actually love these tilted cages because they make it really easy to get in, pull your battery, and replace within just a matter of seconds. So that's kind of the hope here is that I'll have enough batteries with plenty of record time. I've got 512 gigs SD cards in each of these. But between the batteries and the cameras, we should be able to just swap out batteries pretty quickly. My biggest challenge with the DJI Osmo Pocket 3s is battery life, and it's not bad battery life by any means. I'm able to get about an hour and a half of straight recording on each of these without having to worry too much. It's actually probably a little bit longer than it's probably close to this 2 hour mark. But the challenge is, each of these has the extended battery slot. So what I've done is I bought, well, I bought 2 extra batteries handles to swap out, and that works pretty well. But it's these things are expensive, very expensive. And so it's not like I have a full suite of extras for of these to be able to swap in if the batteries on these are getting low. So I will probably end up buying another pair of these at some point in time. Uh, we'll see. But yeah, battery is one of the biggest challenges that I run into with the Pocket 3s for long festivals. For any normal show that's lasting, 3 to 4 hours, it's really not a big deal because I can just swap through these batteries and charge while things are happening. Speaking of charging, tons of cords. The other nice thing is, depending on the stage, these are fairly long USB-C cords. I will just plug these guys in to a wall and let it charge while it's recording. Other opportunity is I have a bunch of these power banks um, that we will plug in and trickle charge off of simultaneously while these are actually running. So there's other options. Honestly, this is the better option than buying more of these. Um, yeah, it's just more of sometimes between cords and bodies and depending on where you actually have your camera set up, it's just really difficult to be able to like find a safe place to put this. It's not like you can rest this on a speaker because the speaker is going to knock it off. So a lot of times I'll use cords or tape or whatever, gaff tape to kind of hold them down. But um, yeah, beyond that, obviously we have a bunch of Sony batteries. I actually love this. I don't know, just Lano. I love this little Lano charger. It is a USB-C charger for Sony batteries. It lets you see the charge of the battery while they're there, and so I can on the go again use one of these guys to power up my Sonys if I need to from anywhere. So we've got four batteries. We're not going to use four batteries. We're probably going to use like two and a half. But again, Florida heat, humidity, sometimes batteries can act up during that period of time. So I'm going to be a little cautious there. Beyond that, that's like I said, terabytes and terabytes of memory. Um, we're bringing extra micro SD cards. We shouldn't need them, but we've got them just in case I forget something, in case one falls out, whatever it might be. God, I really hope they don't fall out, but they shouldn't. But a bunch of cards for my Sony camera. I shouldn't need these because what I shoot on my Sony, and this is another one of those cardinal sins, is I shoot purely black and white. Baked in my A9iii, I've got my settings dialed in for how I like my photos to look. So I actually don't shoot raw. And this is a scary thing to admit on camera because so many photography fanatics are gonna like faint from it. But I actually just I shoot in black and white entirely. And so everything that's stored on here is actually JPEG. I sometimes will store JPEG on RAW, but most of the time I'm pretty happy with my JPEGs, and I'll just do some slight tweaking to light levels and move on with my day. Um, so I shouldn't need extra memory because if you saw there briefly, with two of those cards already in there, it's capped out at 9,999 for each card. And it's actually, I think, around, what is it, like 16,000 total per is the actual number. But if this is anything like an indie bash where I shot 36,000 photos over 2 days, this won't be because this is only six bands. But um, I just want to make sure I've got extra batteries just in case. Um, Deodorant, yes, I do bring deodorant. You get stuffy when you're doing these. Please, if you're a photographer, bring deodorant. Be kind to the other people in the photo pit and the folks around you. Rocket Air. I know people think these are lame, but yes, they are expensive. I've got generic ones of these, but I don't know, these really do work better than your cheaper Rocket Air alternatives. They blow air hard, fast, and will clean out your lens and your body very, very rapidly. Um, from there, oh yeah, my spider belt. So I have tried many, many, many different systems. I don't know if they're over here. I used the cotton system for a little while for my belt clip. It failed on one of my cameras at one point in time. And I ended up dropping a camera and a lens, and thankfully they were okay, but it was purely at the failure of the cotton attachment. So the cotton system is a circle that attaches to your camera body, um, and you slide it in and twist for it to lock in place. The challenge is because it's a connection that goes directly to the body, any twisting action is going to loosen that. It doesn't matter if you've used Loctite, it doesn't matter if you crank that thing down as hard as possible. If you have something hanging from your hip and the only attachment point is directly in with no additional support, you're going to get twisting action as you walk, and that will loosen it. And that's exactly what happened with my cotton. So I no longer use cotton. I'm actually pretty disappointed because I had invested a lot in the cotton system. I will still occasionally use their chest rig for large my large lenses if I'm out doing wildlife photography, because you're not getting that side to side motion, so it doesn't really come as loose, but it's still a risk that I really don't like taking. But I swapped over to Spider, and Spider is insane. I actually wish I had just invested in this to begin with. Spider system is absolutely nuts. People see these little metal pegs like, oh, that's not going to hold up very well. This thing will never come off of your system. You can tug, you can fling, you can do whatever you want. This guy is nuts. And so people always look at me kind of weird whenever I'm wearing them, like, why are you wearing a gun holster? I'm like, it's a camera holster. Um, but like it keeps my very expensive camera equipment safe on my hip and out of harm's way. And I can safely clamp onto this and not really have to worry about where my camera's at or what I'm doing with it. To the point now that I pretty much only use a hand grip and almost never use a strap, which is also kind of crazy. I will probably use a strap for Sunday since I know I'm going to be closer to pits. Depends on how crazy the actual show is going to be, but most of the time I just hand strap and move on with my day and then clip to my belt when I'm not using it. So, highly recommend if you've got expensive gear and you're walking around a ton, pick up the Spider stuff. It's great. I do have this DJI Neo. I've been walking around the lake with this guy. It's actually pretty cool. Depending on how the crowds are looking, I might get some overhead shots. Um, I do also have like the Mavic 4, and I've got some bigger um, drones that I could potentially bring with me as well. But this guy is pretty simple. I can just, set it to rock it up, hold my hand out, get some top shots, or come back to my hand, and I don't have to worry about a lot of logistics there. I may or may not take that with me. We'll see. What have I not covered? Covered batteries, covered everything along those lines. So the concern that I did get was like, whoa, isn't that a ton of stuff to bring with you? And spread out on a table, yeah, it certainly looks like it. But before I picked up the action cams, I was able to get all of this into two bags, fairly small bags. One of which is this guy, um, and the other is my I call it my magical murder bag because I'm a Venture Brothers fan. Um, but yeah, we'll see. I'll actually go ahead and get this packed up here in a little bit. We'll see how compact we can get it now with the Action 5s. But yeah, I guess the only other thing is people are asking about my Lucky Charms. Somebody was having a really crappy day at a shoot one time, and somebody left this post-it on my box just with "It will be okay" on it. And I don't know, it kind of brightened my mood that day. And anytime I'm kind of in a crappy mood at a shoot, I've kept it with me ever since. I'll just, take a look at that for whatever reason. It definitely brightens my mood. So that's my little lucky charm. Helps me feel good if I'm not having a great day. So oh, I did almost completely forget. So the other thing, the thing I'm probably most loved for in our community is I provide pictures as well immediately after a show. It's kind of like my most important piece of gear here, probably. I don't know why I forgot it, but so this is a Canon Selphy CP 1500. I own two of these now because I love them so much. This is a little tiny 4x6 printer, and I'm sure most of you have seen people like there's a lot of Instagram things where people like will walk around printing these and handing people photos, and that's what I do too, and I love it. I think I hope bands really appreciate the idea of getting photos immediately after a show. There's something about handing somebody like, "Hey, amazing show, guys. Here's some photos," and immediately giving them to them. Like that recognition, I think for most artists is like, "Wow, this just happened." A lot of times, people don't get photos until weeks later or days later, and that moment is already gone. So there's a connection between doing a show and handing somebody a moment from that show immediately, and that like reality of like, oh my God, I just did this and I look awesome. Hopefully, hopefully they like the photos I take. But the goal is to be able to kind of encourage artists to say, hey, look, you know, artists are their own worst enemies. I don't know any musicians. Well, I do know a handful, and I don't like to shoot for those musicians, but I don't know any musician that is like, I am a god, I'm amazing, I killed that set. Every single artist I know is very usually filled with self-doubt, like, how was the set? Did I look okay? Did I sound okay? You know, a lot of people don't get the opportunity to see themselves as the rock stars that they actually are, and every single musician that gets on a stage is a rock star. I don't care who you are or what you perform. If you're up on a stage and entertaining people, you're a rock star, and I think you deserve um, to see that you're actually doing amazing things. Seeing people passionate and in the moment of a show is incredible, and then being able to show people how passionate they were in a show, um, I hope encourages artists to come back out and do more shows. That's the reason I got into this, is being able to support artists and musicians, and um, just show them how amazing they are, and give them that support. But anyways, the way that I do that is with this Canon Selphy. It's incredible. You can get I think it's like 150 sheets of prints plus cartridges, which I don't have any in here, for $30. So you're looking at pennies on the dollar for printing these out. And so I do it for free because I think it's absolutely worth my investment in our community and the arts to be able to print these out and hand them out to people. So yeah, that a very critical part of my setup. I did not should not forget. But that all fits in this bag. So I guess, yeah, technically I take 3 bags with me. But this guy's pretty tiny, and I actually have a belt strap that I can keep this with me on my belt if I wanted to. I have batteries for that, so I don't have to plug it in as well. Um, no, I'm not taking the Enterprise with me. That's just my table centerpiece. Um, Beyond that, yeah, let's get this stuff packed up and see how compact we can get this all. All right, so there you have it. We've got everything for the show and 4 bags. Yep, belts. I'll carry this with me as well. But that's it, folks. I know it looked like a crazy amount of stuff, but this is all shoulder and hand. And I'm able to get to a spot without needing to carry a case with me or anything along those lines. So it looked like a lot of stuff. It is a lot of stuff. When you think about it, it's 8 video cameras, 8 4K 60 capable video cameras, in a single bag, which is insane. And a really, really powerful, robust photography camera that is going to be able to capture absolutely everything I need, all right here. Yeah, so hopefully this was useful to some people. Yes, I know it's insane. We'll see how those 8 go. I'll post some videos of me editing when I get those 8 cameras together. We're going to see how well they mesh. But yeah, that's it. Here we go. Everything's packed up, ready to go. See everybody tomorrow.